Happy 12-12-12 day. iTunes bundles galore, Microsoft complaining about the 30% rule, Photoshop goes Retina, and tons of app news. It's Wednesday, December 12th, 2012, and this is iWake. I'm Tim Chaten, and this is what's going on in the Apple world today. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of iWake. So what is on the agenda today? What is going on in the world today? Well, lots, evidently. First of the day, I just want to say happy 12-12-12 day. It's December 12th, 2012. So those are fun days of the year when we have all three digits the same. Anyways, do something special today. Commemorate 12-12-12. Anyways, first of the day in the news is the iPhone 5. And what is significant about it today? Well, first off, Time Magazine has named it the Gadget of the Year. Their top 10 gadgets, first the iPhone 5, then the Nintendo Wii U, the Sony CyberShot RX100, Raspberry Pi Model B, the Nitro, the MacBook Pro with Retina display, the Windows Surface with RT, Samsung Galaxy Note 2, the Nest thermostat, which I love, and the Simple.TV. So that is the top 10, the iPhone 5 being the gadget of the year. So congrats to Apple, and congrats, I think, to Nest as well for making the list. And Surface too. Oddly, it's on there, but I think it's an interesting product, but maybe not the gadget of the year. Next up today in iPhone 5 news is the fact that this $149 iPhone 5, this one you're available to get at Best Buy, is available pretty much everywhere. They stores are price matching Best Buy's discounted price of $149 for an iPhone 5 at Radio Shack, Target, Walmart, and even Apple stores if you know the magic code to ask them when you go. So if you want a iPhone 5 for $149 on contract, you can do that. Just make sure you go to Best Buy, or you just have them price match it for you. Next up is some iTunes related news. First up is a nice little feature in iTunes 11 that many may have missed. Marco Arment made note of this on Twitter that it clarifies why you might want to do an encrypted local backup. So it now states backup to this computer. A full backup of your iPad will be stored on this computer. Backup to this computer with encrypted local backup. This will also back up account passwords used on this iPad. So it very clearly states this, and that's a big win, I think, for users and people to just know about the change there. I think it's a big, a nice little tweak they've made. So next up today, in related iTunes news, is what's on sale this week? What's the big deal with movies this week in iTunes? And when I initially looked this week, as many of you know, I try to look every week and see, hey, what's the hot deal this week? What is it? What's the good buy this week to pick up? And initially, for about a whole day, I checked Monday afternoon, and then I didn't notice anything changed. There wasn't really any big new releases. There weren't any big new sales. And I hopped on over to the movie bundle page and noticed, wow, there are a ton of new awesome bundles for trilogies, quadrilogies, and all sorts of things like that. So if you are someone that is into some of the big blockbuster trilogies like The Matrix for $25 in HD for all three movies, Back to the Future, same price, $25 in HD for all three movies, the Die Hard quadrilogy, all four films, $45 for in HD, the Superman bundle with four films there, $35 in HD. If you're into that stuff, there's a ton of awesome bundles, limited time pricing on these. So if you're into this stuff, head on over to the iTunes store, and on the sidebar, there's this thing called Movie Bundles. Click there. There are some awesome deals this week or next week only. I'm not sure when these will expire. I also noticed the Lord of the Rings Extended dropped in price from $60 down to $55. So they did drop the price. They changed the cover album cover art. I was sad that they did not add iTunes extras or anything like that, but perhaps another day. So anyways, lots of awesome movie bundles. That is what's going on in the iTunes movie store this week. Something that Apple is not even advertising this. This is not on the movie page's front page. This is kind of like a hidden gem. So if you're into those kind of bundles, go out and now's your chance. Next up today is just a question I had posed on Twitter. Why aren't there deluxe versions of movies in iTunes loaded with extras, a big extra, iTunes extra, as a way to promote a different version of the movie, the way they have two versions of Blu-rays with single discs versus dual discs? I would pay more money, $5-10 more, for a version of a movie that is loaded to the brim, 10-20 hours of extras. I would pay money for that, but it's not offered. What is the difference in marketing towards iTunes versus Blu-ray, where they do that all the time? They did that in DVD as well. Why is digital so different? That's a question I pose. And it's a question, if you're out in the studios listening to this podcast, I ask you, why aren't there more extras in iTunes content, even if it is a different version of the movie that we would pay more money for, as I think many people would pay more money for. So that's that. Now let's move on to some app news. First up, Yahoo. They've released a new client, a mail app for iOS, Android, and Windows Phone 8, and the web coming soon. So the cool thing here is they did this simultaneous rollout between all these different platforms. They basically made mail fast. That's what this whole update's about. It's about speed. It's about being able to get in and out of your mail. It's about being able to use gestures and all sorts of cool things to make it a fast experience, a fun experience. And this is Marissa Myers, the new CEO's, I think, first big consumer-facing change to Yahoo. And so this is something worth checking out. Download the iPhone app. No iPad version as of yet, but I'm sure they are working on that as well. But anyways, Yahoo's first big step with Marissa Myers is a new mail app, so go out and download it. Next up is releasing airfoil speakers for Android 1.0. This enables you to turn an Android phone, which, as you know, might be useless for you. I kid. But yeah, if you have a Kindle Fire just laying around doing nothing, you want to turn it into an AirPlay speaker, you can now do this with airfoil. It's at version 1.0, so it's finally out. And head on over to the link in the show notes for how to get this on your device. You need Android 2.3 or higher to have it installed. Next up in the news today is that of Adobe. They have done some big updates today. First up is Retina display support for the MacBook Pro, and this is available for either licensed people or Creative Cloud people. They've also updated Creative Cloud with new smart object support for Blur, Gallery, and Liquify. They've added the ability to export CSS code for text, new workflow time savers, including tool refinements, and a couple other updates to Creative Cloud. So all the details there in the show notes with the link there. I don't want to go through all of it, as for those that aren't involved with Creative Cloud, it might be a bit boring. Next up in app news is Agile Bits. They've been teasing 1Password version 4. They have now a teaser video, so if you're so inclined, go out and watch it. It's entitled Coming Soon to an App Store Near You, and it's linked to in the show notes. Next up is a Dropbox feature update. They've sent me an email just yesterday, and they have updated Dropbox to return the sharing link functionality. So in the past, you could have this public folder, and new users no longer have public folders. If you were an old folder user, you'd be grandfathered into this. And the great thing with a public folder was the ability to share a link to any file there, and you could host websites this way and all sorts of other things. They have re-enabled the feature better than ever. You can now share a link to any file or folder in Dropbox just the way you did before. You might be able to host websites this way. You might be able to host RSS feeds this way. This opens the door to all sorts of awesome possibilities. So if you're a Dropbox user, this is automatically in your app now. No update required. It was an over-the-air update by Dropbox's servers. Big news here. If you just right-click on a file, you can share that file or folder to anyone in the world. Doesn't matter if they use Dropbox or not. So great news there on Dropbox. They restored the one outcry I had with the removal of the public folder. So with that said, the the other app update I want to talk about is Find My iPhone. It's at version 2.0.1. The big news here is driving directions to device location. So now on the iPhone app and iPad app, you can actually get driving directions. It links up to the Maps app, and you say, drive me to this lost iPod Touch, and it will load up the Maps app and take you there. You can also play sound, lost mode, and erase buttons appear separately from the map view. So that's another point that in the map view, there is lost mode and things like that. So with that said, the last big update today as far as apps is Twitterrific version 5.0.1. Some new features here. Swiping left or right with 2 fingers now switches dark and light themes. Check mark icons are now displayed for verified users and lists. Added sound effects to swipe gestures. And a couple other things that I think you'll like here. If you are a Twitterrific user, go out and update. Lots of bug fixes and improvements, as well as new features. The full release notes are in the show notes for those so inclined. And closing out the show today is that of Microsoft. And first up is Microsoft and SkyDrive. Evidently, they are angry at this 30% policy. They're trying to push out an update where you can actually pay for upgrade storage, which, as you know, you're not able to do unless you pay Apple 30%, which they knew this ahead of time. Dropbox had to deal with this issue. Who else? Amazon with their Kindle had to deal with this issue. Everybody has this 30% rule. This is not a big deal, and Microsoft's putting up a fight because of this, and I think also because of Office for iPad, they think, and iPhone, they think this will also be an issue for that as well. So they're pitching a fight, and not the best situation there. And finally today, Microsoft Surface, available at additional retailers as soon as mid-December. So they're trying to get these out into new markets. So good news there at Microsoft. Find a Surface at a store near you. That's could be a Best Buy or Target. We're not quite sure as of yet. So that's what's going on in the Apple world today. Thank you for tuning in, listening, or watching. You can find the show notes at iWakePodcast.com. I also do videos over at youtube.com/TCHATEN. And iWake again is available at iWakePodcast.com/again. Thank you for tuning in today. I will talk to everybody again tomorrow. Have a great day, and talk to you soon.